Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be tuning into tonight's very, very special episode of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. My name is Tonchi Prusak. Joining me, well, it's not Josip Zilic. He's come down with the dreaded lurgy and he's in bed, and we wish him all the very best. But at short notice, he's been substituted by none other than someone who's got the same surname as me, and that's about it. I think that we share in common. My brother, Rads. Rads, welcome to the show. And straight from the North Geelong training track there we see with the top that we got on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Tonch. I do not so feel like a special co-host, but I feel like a 90th minute injury replacement for Josip Zilic. So a little bit cold to start off with, but hopefully I'll get warm as we go on, yeah?
Big shout out to Josip. He's in bed. He's got the hot towels around him, and he's also got to drinking a lot of the chai and the rakia, dare I say. But big shout out to Josip. Get better quickly. I'm sure you will, and we will certainly push on with tonight's show because, geez, have we got a massive, massive show tonight?
Yes.
What have we got lined up? What are some of the guests that we've got lined up for tonight?
Well, we've got a bit of a special flavour about it, Tonch, today. It's a little bit of a New South Wales flavour. We've got Nick Kraljevic from Pleme, who's going to introduce us to the Citizen HR app. And we've also have ANTE, MARKOVIC and DINKO LEROTIC from the Sydney Croatian Tournament that's going to come up. The organisers that are going to join us and obviously run us through a few of the finer details of the tournament.
Well, have we got an exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, for you tonight? Tonight, we have got the release, and they've just been released. They've just been baked out of the oven. They're hot, they're steamy, and they are the tournament fixtures. And a little bit later on, DINKO and ANTE will go through those fixtures. And can I just say we've got some absolute corkers, but you're going to have to wait until a little bit later on for that. But also tonight, we find out also, we'll talk about that Sydney flavour. How good was it on the weekend seeing Sydney, Croatia, Sydney United progress through to the semi-finals, and they're making waves all around the world. Internationally, they are making big waves in Croatia. Everyone's talking about them and calling it their biggest achievement. Although that 1988 grand final at Parramatta Stadium, the one we bloody lost to Marconi Stallions, that still burns. But that was a memorable moment.
Absolutely.
Was the which year was it, Rads? Now jog my memory against Brisbane Strikers.
The big one, the big 40,000 plus crowd. Yes,
2000. Yep, against Strikers at Suncorp Stadium.
I don't know. I can't remember myself, but I do remember the crowd. I remember the crowd being a massive 40,000+. So it's a fantastic crowd there.
So if you're in the chat, make sure you let us know.
Absolutely. Someone let us know. That'd be good.
It would be good. Now, we're going to find out tonight, a little bit later on, as will the rest of the nation, who Sydney United will be matched up in the semi-finals. Now, we have got some big, big games happening tonight. And, Raz, you've actually got the progress scores. Let's go through for that, because there's one corker. There is one absolute corker.
There is. I'll start off with the boring ones, and I'll go on to the exciting one. Adelaide United are trailing Brisbane Roar 2-1 at the moment. We've just gone 48th minute, so they've just returned from the second half. MacArthur leads Wellington 1-0. But, Tonch, this is the big one, man. This is the big one, and the hopeful for us Victorians are hoping that this could possibly be a bit of a fairy tale semi-final. But Oakley Cannons are leading Sydney FC 2-0.
Oh,
massive score. So for us Victorians, that'd be a fantastic one if we could actually watch Sydney Croatia play Oakley in Melbourne, semi-final. That'd be fantastic. But I think right now we'll take anybody, and it'd be just great to see Sydney United in that semi-final.
Yes. Look, that we're going to keep a close eye on proceedings throughout the evening and all the updated scores. We've also got a heap of news all around Australia, all the latest news and views concerning our Australian Croatian clubs, plus obviously the overseas roundup. Lots of stuff happening there, the good, the bad, the ugly, as is usually the case in Croatian and Bosnian football, but a lot happening there. So we'll be covering all of that and a lot more this later on in the show. So folks, do hang around, stay with us. We've got the Oz Cro Roundup, not with Zilla, but with Rads coming up straight after the break. Don't go away, folks.
Yes, well, we obviously will kick it off with the New South Wales scene. Tonight's episode has a bit of that little Sydney feel to it. So in New South Wales, South Coast United face Corrimal again this week after their big 4-1 win over Bellambi. They are back up to 9th spot. The Dallies, they had their grand final on Saturday and in a close encounter, unfortunately, lost 3-2 to Northbridge in the end. Down to Newcastle, Croatia, Division 3 versus Cardiff. The score was an entertaining 8-2. How's this, Tonch? They have scored over 100 goals this year in a 21-game season, with obviously a couple 3-0 forfeits thrown in there. Yeah. They are in 2nd spot, and into the finals they go next week. So that's a fantastic season that Newcastle have really been able to pull out this season.
And first year, like we've said it,
absolutely.
And I've said this, and to all the guys up there at Newcastle, Croatia, Carl, and the crew. Not only is it a wonderful thing that the Newcastle Croatia has undergone a renaissance, if you like, a resurrection of sorts, but the Croatian community I'm hearing up there in Newcastle overall, dance group has been reformed. There's talk of a mini festa style weekend later on this year. So, because of the soccer club, Rads, the whole Croatian community up there in Newcastle is doing well, and we have fond memories of Newcastle, haven't we?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Many a Bucks party and what
yes,
not.
Absolutely.
One Miocica from Sydney had a very, very memorable one, and Stevie
Tivanovic,
yes, Prva Liga, yes. I think you remember someone's amazing grace at about 3:00 in the morning, but a rendition of that. But let's not go into that. But yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Getting back onto saner topics, it's been an amazing year for Newcastle, Croatia. Look at that, 8-2. The reserves a great win as well over Cardiff, 2-1. Yes. And the all-age team,
all age, they are unfortunately down 1-0. Yeah, so to Bulwara Lawn. So that's. Is what it is, unfortunately. But yes, so we move on. Obviously, we'll move on to Warrington,
Croatia.
Yes, and here it's a series of finalists, as you can see in the pictures there. And all-age men Division 3 won their final, so congratulations to them. And there were runners-up in the under-14 girls comp and in the women's team. So, look, good luck, and congratulations to them because they've been able to obviously make it that far, and good, well done to all of Warrington there. So, and then, we'll move on to the next one. The next one is the big special mention. Obviously, Sydney, Croatia, Sydney United. Mate, what a huge win for the club. That was a huge win for the club, huge win for Croatian clubs in general in Australia. Getting 1-0 win over Peninsula Power in the Australia Cup. It's what all the FA Cups are about. The national cups that are played worldwide. Fantastic stuff. Look, according to our sources, Mr. Zilic himself, a big crowd poured into AJ Kelly Park and Peninsula Power. We're also really big on promoting the active fans area, so that was really good of the Power. It was constant, colourful, everything a well-behaved football crowd is. So well done to both, but obviously well done to our Croatian boys at Sydney.
Can I just say, firstly, that was awesome. Like, there was obviously a fairly big contingent of Croatians from Sydney that came up, but also Brisbane and also Gold Coast. Now, dare I say, should Sydney, Croatia qualify for the next? They've already qualified. What am I talking about? Should they play in Adelaide? Should they play in Melbourne? Should they play in Sydney? They're going to get a really good level of support, and that's what it's all about. That is absolutely what it's all about. But I think, Rads, one of the reasons why Josip is sick tonight is I think he partied a little bit too hard in Bris Vegas.
Absolutely.
And we've actually got proof that he did, because there he is. A photo on the right-hand side.
Yes.
Yes, the coach, Miroslav Stelica. And there's Adrian, the captain as well on the left-hand side. So great to see. And Josip does tell me that the camaraderie, he caught up with the Grabovac boys, Ante and his son Adam as well. So it was just like a celebrity spotted of who's who in the Croatian community up there. But mate, it's not just in Sydney, and it's not just here in Australia that it's causing all sorts of positive vibes,
That's right.
positive waves. Tell us
That's
what
right.
else is going on with Sydney United.
Look, it's also getting a little mention in the Sportske Novosti in Croatia, where Vlastelica himself has turned around and said, u polufinalu ćemo imati sigurno više od 10,000 naših navijača. Let's hope so. Let's hope so, Tonch. Let's hope there's more than, the 10,000. So, it's fantastic coverage there. And it's not a small article. It's a decent-sized article in the Sportske Novosti, which anyone that's been to Croatia would agree that it's one of the best newspapers going around, and it's always a good read.
Yeah. So for those viewers of the show who maybe don't speak Croatian, apart from you need to learn the language. What it actually translates to is Emir Vlastelica says in the semi-final we can expect to have over 10 or around 10,000 of our fans, and this is Sportske Novosti, is an amazing paper. Croatia. Absolutely. A country of 4 million, yet it's got a daily sports newspaper. Even here in Australia, we don't have it.
We don't have something like that.
Daily
That's right.
Telegraph, Herald Sun, that pales into insignificance compared to that. But it's great to see, and it's not the only one. I'm hearing Dvajs Četiri Sata and a couple of other newspapers as well are really, really interested because it is creating waves. And finally, the Croatian clubs, or in this case, Sydney, Croatia, are back on the national stage. This augurs well for a national second division down the
track. Absolutely. And it's bringing that old NSL vibe about it, isn't it? So absolutely. Look, let's move on, Tonch. We'll move on into the ACT. We'll start off with the O'Connor Knights. Congrats to the O'Connor women to start off with, who had a 4-3 win in their semi over Lanyon United, and they're off to the grand final. So good luck to the women's there, and hopefully they can come away with the cup there. The men, the O'Connor Knights men, unfortunately had a 4-1 loss to Gungahlin. I believe that's how you pronounce it. They are fifth, and next up they have the all-great derby against Canberra, Croatia. 2 matches remain of their season. The O'Connor Knights juniors, we do have a special mention to all 4 boys teams taking out their respective titles. So congratulations to the boys. Obviously the four boy groups winning those titles themselves. So, looking at those scorelines, not too bad as well. We move on to Canberra, Croatia. Canberra, Croatia, with the women who suffered a rear loss, Tonch, going down 2-1 to Belconnen. They're 5 points clear at top, but Olympic, who are just behind them, have a game in hand. So 2 games remain of that season, so stay tuned on that one as things will get tight, and hopefully our women, the Canberra women, can pull up and win that one as well, pick the Olympic team.
Now, the men, they've managed to secure the title for the second week, but they had 3 points deducted. But it didn't make any difference because at the end of the day, on the weekend, they got a result, and that was enough to secure them the championship. Rads, tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, they obviously had a 1-1 draw to finish off there against Belconnen, and obviously, as mentioned just now, they have been crowned the premiers. So congrats to Canberra. Obviously, the question now is how much of their focus will go into the derby against O'Connor Knights. And look, it's always a great event for the Canberra Croatian community, regardless. But, I guess as a whole, they can celebrate a Croatian club coming up trumps there, Tonch. So that's fantastic for the Canberra community there.
Fantastic. Well done. We hope to have Tony Vidovic, the president of Canberra, Croatia, on last week's show, but due to the tribunal issues that were happening there as well, he was unable to come. But look, 3 points deducted in the end, water off the duck's back, as they say. They tried, but they couldn't stuff us up. In the end, Canberra, Croatia proclaimed worthy NPL champions of the ACT. Now let's move over quickly to WA, Rads, and then we'll go for a break.
Yeah, we'll go quickly to WA with Guelph, Croatia. Unfortunately, it's relegation for Guelph. They finished in last place with a 4-0 loss to Perth Glory, and Balcarta ended up winning, meaning the result condemned Guelph to the relegation, which is unfortunate. The Western Knights, an unusual loss for the Knights, Tonch, losing 3-0 to Mandurah. They now go on to face Subiaco and will need a win to secure a second spot for the season. So, good luck to the Western Knights in being able to do that. But, unfortunately, Guelph having a bit of a negative season to finish off with.
Yeah, and relegated to State 1.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a very, very quick break, folks. When we return, we'll have a score update with those 3 Australia Cup games being played tonight. And we'll also look at part 2 of the Australian-Croatian roundup with Rads. Don't go away, folks. Here's a couple of messages from our advertising sponsors. Well, we're back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It is episode 30, season 1. Geez, we've done well. 30 episodes in our first year. Thank you to all of our sponsors, all of the clubs as well that have backed us throughout this year. And we've got a couple more episodes to go this year before we round things up. But it has been a wonderful, wonderful first opening season of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. We hope you're really enjoying the show. Pop your comments in the chat and be an active part of the show. But Rads, let's move on to Queensland now. Part 2 of our Oz Cro roundup.
All right, so Queensland we'll start off with the Brisbane Knights women finishing 4th. They head to the semi-finals against Capalaba on Friday night. So once again, good luck to the women there. The men, unfortunately, they copped a whopping 9-1 loss to Slacks Creek on the weekend, going against the grain of their latest usual performances. They're in 6th place, and I believe tonight they take on AC Carina in their second last match of the year. The Gold Coast Knights in the NPL, obviously, second place Knights were again off their best in a 2-1 loss to lowly Easts. Focus turns to Saturday's game against Peninsula Power at home in a cutthroat semi-final. For all Queenslanders, that game kicks off at 7:30 p.m. South Coast in the QPL 4. 2 losses in a week and they've dropped to 3rd. They now need Tweed to draw or lose, and obviously the Knights to win to grab second spot and that promotion spot that they are desperately probably wanting. We move to Victoria, Tonch.
Look at that.
Yes, absolutely. The Gorspitch Bears, their Masters team, have been crowned champions of Metro's Masters West after a massive 4-0 win over Laverton. So congratulations to the Bears, or the Lichani, as some call them. That's fantastic work from them. We go on to Strathmore as well.
The big one is good news.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the big one was the catch-up game the Split had last night. We can obviously be delighted to say that they were able to get 2-1 result there against Clifton Hill to secure Division 1 football in 23. So they survived, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, on the other side of that, the women had a 3-1 loss to close out their year. But well done. I'll go back to the Strathmore boys and, getting that result, and it's obviously securing their spot. So well done to them. We move on to North Geelong, the Warriors. We'll start off with the women.
Yes.
Okay, the women had a 2-2 draw with Clifton Hill to end their year in 5th position. It was a really good first year back in Division 1 for the Warriors women. And special mention obviously goes out to the coaches, Ivan, Ando and Ahmed, on doing a fantastic job with the women's this season. And I know, knowing them personally, obviously they'd be already planning a big year in Divi 1 next year. And hopefully, getting probably even higher than that 5th that they were able to secure this year. Congratulations to them, yeah.
Yeah, we keep harping on about it, but look, they were one of the rare clubs that enjoyed a double promotion. So they were in State League 3 last year.
Yes.
Moved up to State 2, and then were asked by Football Victoria to fill a vacancy
move up to
in State
Division
1.
Yes.
Remembering in Rads in State 1, you needed to field a reserves and a seniors team. And our own St Albans Dynamo, who we'll talk about shortly, they weren't able to field a reserves team, so they actually dropped down to State 2.
Yes.
But yeah, look, a commendable effort there by North Geelong. The top 3 teams will move on to VPLW, where our Melbourne Knights women's team is situated. But St Albans, let's talk about St Albans, the women. How did they go on the weekend?
Yeah, so the St Albans women, unfortunately, 3-1 lost to Maribyrnong to end their season. Look, you can't do too much when you don't, like you said, you don't have reserve players. You're probably limited to the amount of players that you do have in that squad. But look, overall, the show goes on for them as well.
Absolutely. And last but not least, the Apple Isle Glenorchy Knights.
Glenorchy Knights from Tasmania, obviously. The women, they take on Tourny this week. Last week's big 6-0 win over Kingborough locks them into second spot. And obviously semi-finals are looming for the women there. So fantastic news and good luck to them. The men obviously had a tough 2-1 win over Launceston. They're still in 4th spot ahead of Friday's clash with Hobart Olympia. And pretty much that brings us to an end with our local news there, Tonch.
Yeah, it does. Now, speaking of the Glenorchy Knights, before we go any further, he may be sick. He's not on his deathbed, Fala Borgu, but he is in bed at the moment. But he's still negotiating very, very much about next week's show. Josip Zilic is talking to someone from Glenorchy Knights. That's all we're going to say. We're hoping to get someone on next week's show from Glenorchy Knights. One of those clubs that at the tournament, everyone loves them, They're one of those people, they come along, they have a good time, they're usually a good bunch of people, our Hobart Croatians, and Glenorchy Knights hopefully will be on next week's show. Fantastic. We're going to take a very, very, very quick break. When we return, it's time for the Croatian football roundup from overseas. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. We've got two sets of very important guests tonight. Nick Kraljevic from Pleme app. He'll be joining us very, very shortly to talk about the Pleme app itself, and also indeed about the Citizen HR, which is an aspect of the app that allows, it's almost like a checklist. That's what I'm told. To when you're seeking to obtain Croatian citizenship, makes the process so much easier. And Rads, I don't know about you, but when I did mine, mind you, I had some good support and help back in the day from the Croatian consulate in Melbourne. But it was still a long and arduous process to get your citizenship. But
Tonch, I reckon I've given it 3 goes, to be honest, and I reckon I gave up every time. I think it was just too long, and I just couldn't be bothered in the end. So I haven't gone that far, but hopefully Nick's got some good news for lazy people like myself, and and I'll be able to go forward with the citizenship that has been long awaited.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we'll also be speaking to DINKO, LEROTIC and ANTE MARKOVIC from the Australian Croatian Soccer Tournament organising committee. And as we said at the top of the show, an exclusive for the Oz Cro Soccer Show, we will actually be revealing the fixtures on tonight's show.
Absolutely, and there's some crackers.
there are some crackers, Rads. Before we go on to the Croatian League roundup, have we got any progress scores from any of the Australian Cup games being played tonight?
No, everything stayed the same. Brisbane still leading 2-1 over Adelaide United. Macarthur leads Wellington 1-0. And the big one, Oakley, still leading 2-0. And we are up to about the 69th minute, Tonch. So, there's about 20-odd minutes left in those games. And at this point in time, it looks like Oakley might come up trumps.
Kobireko, who would say?
The Gurtsi.
Anyway, let's move on to overseas. Dinamo Zagreb. Well done, Dinamo. Well, they've qualified for the Champions League. They've done absolutely fantastically well. But look at the group that they've drawn. Is it the group of death, or is it a marketing dream? AC Milan, Chelsea, FC Salzburg from Austria, and of course Dinamo Zagreb. Dinamo opened their campaign on the 6th, which is next week, next Wednesday, I think it is.
Yes.
Against Chelsea at home at the Maksimir Stadium. Then they're away to Milan, away to Salzburg. Then they've got a pretty kind of not bad run home, 2 home games out of the last 3 against Salzburg, and then Milan. And then finally, Chelsea hosts Dinamo in London. Mate, what do you think of it? What do you make of this Group E?
It is definitely a tough one for Dinamo. But look, as we've seen in the past, Dinamo can pull an upset every now and then in Europe. And it wouldn't put it past me. As much as it hurts me to say, but I wouldn't put it past them getting a good result out of any of those games against Milan or Chelsea. Look, Salzburg, they're going to have to go for both of those games. As much as the away game might be a bit daunting for them, I think they really have to go for those games. And it would have been nice if they had, say, Salzburg in the first game. Getting Chelsea and Milan straight after one another, tough call. But look, good luck to the Dinamo team, and hopefully they can pull something out.
Now, just news overnight, Joško Gvardiol looks like possibly being, I don't know if it's Chelsea, but there's talk that he may go to the English Premier League.
90 million?
90 million. If that is the case, and if that does eventuate, Dinamo would get a percentage of the sell-on clause.
14, I think it was.
14 million, correct. That is amazing. That is absolutely insane. And then one wonders why they are so dominant in the Croatian League, because they've built up, a decade plus of consistently being in Europe, and that's what has to happen. Unfortunately, Hajduk did well against Villarreal, just couldn't get over the line. But the atmosphere, the noise that was created was
unbelievable.
Amazing.
Some of the footage that was filtering through after that game was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Folks, jump onto YouTube if you haven't. If you're a Hajduk supporter or not Hajduk supporter, but watch the reaction. And the Villarreal players hung around after the game to watch, not just the Torcida, but the entire stadium giving the Hajduk players an unbelievable ovation. And what really got me, there was this young photojournalist, and she's crying. She's crying. She's like the emotion. It was just so overwhelming. I don't know. 85,000 members. They've hit 12,000 seasons ticket holders. It's
amazing.
It's a movement. It is not a football club. It is a movement.
That's right.
Anyway, back to the what is happening on the park itself. A weird round of matches in the Croatian League. Rads started off on Friday night. Istra defeated Gorica 2-0 in Gorica. Rijeka and Varaždin, look, they had a very, very much younger side. They came back from the brink. They recorded a come-from-behind win. Well done to Varaždin. Slaven Belupo, they just seem to be getting better and better and better. With arguably the lowest budget of any club in the HNL, they managed to cement their position in second spot. Šibenik and Dinamo Zagreb had a little bit of an unfortunate incident happening in this game, even though Dinamo Zagreb did collect all 3 points, but one of Dinamo's star signings has suffered a long-term injury.
Yeah, I do believe it was Boško Šutalo. He's gone for a few months by what I think I saw that, I don't know, maybe just after the game or something like that. And I was speculating on that injury, but I'm pretty sure I might have seen 3 months somewhere.
I think so.
And that's a big one. New signing, out for a while. So that, how much of a dent that puts into Dinamo's ambitions, but only time will tell, yeah.
And then Osijek versus Hajduk Split. Well, this is an emotion-charged game for various reasons. Unfortunately for Marko Livaja, who was appointed captain of the team in the absence of Lovre Kalinic, who suffered an injury against Villarreal. On the morning of the game, he found out that his father had been killed in a car accident in Split. Despite that, he still hung around and led his team. He scored in the second half from a penalty spot, but Osijek ended up winning this game 2-1. And lo and behold, after the victory, so Osijek on the bottom of the ladder have defeated Hajduk Split. Guess what happens? Immediately the very, very next day, Nenad Bjelica gets the sack. I mean, seriously, you cannot read about this. This only happens in Croatia.
No.
Nenad Bjelica gets the sack. He's now the third coach in the Croatian league, and there he's arm in arm with Samir Toplak, who also got the sack at Gorica. And then to the far right, Dragan Tadic, who was appointed coach of Rijeka in the off-season, he's also been given the flick. So 3 out of the 10 teams, we haven't even gone into, 7 rounds, and already, we've had 3 coaching casualties.
No.
Don't know.
Could it be Dombrovskis after Slaven Belup on the weekend? Possible.
I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, look at the ladder. Dinamo Zagreb clearly out in front. They're really threatening to make it a one-team league this year. But Slaven Belup, they are really surprising a lot of teams. And it's going to be a real battle for that second and third spot.
I was going to say, the one that impresses me there, Tonch, is Varaždin, because I've watched a couple of their games now, and I think they were very unlucky against Hajduk. Same against, obviously, the Dinamo game. I just think they've been really impressive, Varaždin.
They have, and there's also talk that a former Rijeka midfielder, Lončar, who's a gun player, may come to Varaždin as a loan player. And if he does come, he's going to be a huge boost to the Varaždin team.
Absolutely, yes.
The only problem they don't have is they don't have depth. They don't have the budget. They don't have the depth, but they're doing really well. And I'll tell you, Varaždin are surprising a lot of people, and they are very, very well supported. That is the good thing to see. But look, Hajduk have got 2 games in hand. So it's against Gorica and it's against Rijeka, the 2 bottom sides, but that doesn't mean anything because they lost to the bottom side
that's right.
just before. So there's obviously, there's a lot of interest happening in that as far as that is concerned. Let's have a look at the fixtures coming up this weekend. Dinamo Zagreb against Rijeka at the Maksimir in the wee hours of Saturday morning. Varaždin taking on Gorica. This is an important game and an interesting game and a derby of sorts. Varaždin at home to Gorica, another big crowd expected there. Osijek then home to Šibenik. Now, this could be interesting because they're talking that the coach, the favourite to be the Osijek coach, is former Šibenik player and coach Goran Tomic, who has also coached the Lokomotiva, who's also coached at Rijeka last year, and has been one of the better performing coaches in recent years. Now, last year, I think it was, Bjelica actually came out and said, in his opinion, Tomic is one of the best, if not the best coach in the HNL at the time. Okay, so how ironic would that be if Tomic now replaces Bjelica at the helm of Osijek, and then coaches Osijek against his former team, his childhood team, Šibenik. It's like a fairy tale in Croatia. We, as of Monday morning, Istra at home to Lokomotiva Zagreb, and then the big game in Split, Hajduk versus Slaven Belupo. Must-win game there. Must-win game. If Hajduk doesn't win that game, they are in a bit of a slump, but this is an absolute must-win game.
Absolutely. And like I said earlier, like Dombrovskis will have to be looked upon if they are to lose this, because I think last 5 games, I think it's 4 losses. So it's pretty, his tactics have been questionable in these last few games.
Very much so. Okay, Druga Liga, or the Prva Liga, however they call it in Croatia, the Prva Nogometna Liga, the Croatian First Division, or the second-tier competition at the moment. Some interesting results there. Cibalia, our team, Cibalia, our second favourite team, everyone's second favourite team, Cibalia. They defeated Rudeš, the undefeated Rudeš. Dugopolje also defeating last year's Prvoligaši Dragovoljac 1-0. So those two teams have really fired up. But look at Vukovar, the newly promoted Vukovar. They drew against Bijelo Brdo from Osijek in the big Slavonski derby. And they just seem to be moving up and up and up, further up the ladder. They have not yet been beaten. So well done to Vukovar. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one this week. I think Dugopolje take on Rudeš in Zagreb, I should say. So that's going to be an interesting game, no doubt. Yeah. All right, let's move across the border to Bosnia-Herzegovina. So round 7 was held on the weekend. Široki Brijeg played host to Velez Mostar. 0-0 draw there for Široki. Posuše, well done to Posuše, defeating Sloboda. Tuzla 1-0. Sloga defeated Igman 2-0. 2-2 draw in the big Sarajevo derby, Željezničar and Sarajevo. And Leotar defeating Borac Banja Luka 1-0. There's the games that are coming up this weekend before we look at the ladder. Borac Banja Luka at home to Zrinski. Zrinski have got so many games in hand because of their European. And speaking of their European things, came down to penalties, huh?
Yes.
Against Slovan Bratislava. They had it. They almost had it. They I think they scored in injury time, and then there was another goal was scored, the equaliser. Came down to penalties, and just couldn't go on with the show. But Zrinski did absolutely well, on the cusp of creating history. Really, the first club from BiH to make it through to the group rounds, but wasn't to be. Tuzla City, they're hosting Široki Brijeg. Igman taking on Sloboda, and then Posuše at home to Željezničar. So if we have a quick look at the ladder there, Rads, Sarajevo on top, but look, they've played 2 games more than our Široki.
Yes.
Široki Brijeg have got 2 games in hand. Posuše, they're slowly moving up the ladder, which is good to see. They've got a mid-table position. And folks, don't worry, Zrinski may be on the bottom of the ladder, but they've only played 2 games. So they've got like 25 games in hand, so they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Now, last but certainly not least, if we go now on to other news that's happening over there. North Geelong boy, former North Geelong boy, Noah Skorko officially has put pen to paper with Hajduk Split. The 16-year-old who broke into the North Geelong Warriors senior team and the son of the legendary Hajduk captain, former captain Josip Skorko. He is signed on and he will play with the Kadeti, which is basically the under-17s there at Hajduk. And he's already made his international debut for Croatia. And scoring. We spoke about that last week. So that's absolutely fantastic, fantastic news. Mate, that brings me to the end of the Croatian roundup. We're going to take a very, very quick break. When we do return, it's our first guest, and he is the creator and the man behind the Pleme app, which is let's find out what it is straight from the horse's mouth. Nick Kraljevic will be joining us straight after the break.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show, Rads. We've got a score update from the Oakley Cannons Sydney FC game. Looks like Sydney FC have pulled one back. It was around about the 72nd, 73rd minute or thereabouts, whatever. Goal was disallowed actually around about that time, but they have pulled one back now. We've gone 85 minutes. Yes. And Oakley Cannons still 2-1 up there, leading Sydney FC down in Victoria. We'll keep an eye on that one. But let's talk about our next guest. It's an absolute pleasure to bring onto the show now the man behind the Pleme app, and we'll find out a little bit more about what is involved with the Pleme app. And he's been a fantastic sponsor of the show throughout 2022. A big welcome to Nick Kraljevic. Nick, thank you for joining us here on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Good evening, and how are you?
Pretty good. Struggling through the week.
You look like it's Friday already. You know, you look like you need the weekend. You look that tired, eh?
Oh, that's mentally. I'm there. I'm mentally. Let's see if I can hang in there for a couple more days.
Fantastic.
Well, we still got another 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We still got. Now I'm starting to. We've still got 2 more days to go. But mate, first of all, tell us about the Pleme app. Let's talk about that first. What is it exactly, and tell us a little bit more about how it came to be.
Yeah, happy to. Social media app. It's kind of social media network, kind of network around the world, and get to sponsor each other's projects. It's probably, I guess, like a news sharing app. Certainly where we're moving to in the release a couple sneaks on network. I mean, our kind of view is don't want to say insular, but more particular niche interests. Now spend all your time on there, and kind of get stuck in your own little community. So that's kind of, I guess, where we think that there'll still be social networking. But you'll probably be in a couple of different ones around your particular interests. So already some.
Would you call it kind of
in the soccer space?
Yeah. Would you call it kind of like a social media platform, or would you call it kind of like the Facebook for the Croatian community worldwide?
Yeah.
Well, we've got some audio issues. It seems to be
good.
like, it doesn't seem to be coming. Yep. It seems to be cutting out a fair bit. Yeah, we can, but it sort of seems to be cutting out a lot.
Oh, sorry, guys. I'll see how I go. I might. But definitely, I would say it's
just
form.
Yeah. Raj, you had a question? Did you ask?
No. I was just going to say a little bit further on when he starts talking about the citizen HR. That's the one that I want help with.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's talk about that citizen HR, because we talked about this, and sometimes it can be a really difficult process of getting your Croatian citizenship, especially from here. I suppose if you go over there to Croatia, it can be a little bit quicker. Funny enough, because you're right there, and if you happen to have the right documents and whatnot. But tell us, how does this help people trying to obtain their citizenship at the moment?
Yeah, basically a problem, which is kind of navigating the citizenship process, so to speak. To the whole thing myself in the last 2 years, lockdowns. It was fun to to kind of walk you through where you get all that stuff and get everything stamped, even go to the consulate and this is probably.
Yeah, Nick, it's cutting out. It's cutting out pretty badly, actually. What we might
I'm
do is,
struggling to hear him.
we might actually go to that Plema ad, and when we return, we'll try and use some sort of an alternative, maybe microphone or headset or something like that. Yeah. All right, we'll go to break and we'll come back. Well, we're back with Nick Kraljevic. Hopefully, we've rectified the audio issues. Nick, can we hear you?
Let's try.
Still seems to be cutting out, so it must be the microphone. There we go. We'll try and do our best that we can. While we speak, it's 90th minute in the Oakley Cannons Sydney FC game. Oakley Cannons are still up 2-1, so it could be some big results happening there. Adelaide United down 1-2 against Brisbane Roar, and Macarthur FC look like they'll get through. So it could be Macarthur, Brisbane, and or possibly Oakley being one of Sydney United's opponents next. Nick, let's talk about the Citizen HR.
Yep, I was saying, and I can even hear my brother-in-law's Cannons game and laughing his head off. That'd probably be a good one to tune into later. So the kind of app was I kind of going through citizenship lockdowns. It was impossible and get everything sorted and then a bit of paper or whatever when you turn up to the conference. Just to get ready, and it's a huge effort. But we kind of looked at this and said that it's pretty tough. It doesn't need to be so tough. So an app which is it's use well in English, German, Spanish, and Portuguese. Well, there's a good chance you into the app and use it. And it's really simple app, basically. Even questions to kind of who you are and kind of show, and then we'll kind of show you of the you could apply to become a citizen. So I guess most people are applying for lineage or descent, but there's also other if you've done a lot and stuff, you might be able to kind of pass, or if you're going through special so yeah, distilled it down to really kind of tell you what's available and experts. So for me, going through this process was to be able to get them all this kind of get all that. So what we kind of do, if you need some translators, for you, a lawyer or an interpreter, etc. We've got a whole bunch of them on there, Australia and around the world. Essentially, I guess we're taking out a lot of the making it super simple for you. It's going to be free, so you'll pay nothing to use the app. It's always anything. I don't think you could the more Croatians we have, probably a good thing.
Yeah, now look, I suppose from our context, when we're talking about soccer and being a soccer show, and we've seen, Rads, just this year, there's been probably, I don't know, half a dozen young Australian Croatians that have gone over there to Croatia to try their luck. You know, we talked about from North Geelong, just Noah's brother, Luka Skoko, Nicholas Vladovic. There's three of them that have been on this show as well. Popovic, what's his name? Gabriel Popovic, Christian Popovic. Yes. There's a couple of other Sydney lads that have gone as well. We even mentioned there's an Adelaide Serbian fella that's gone to Osijek for BSK, Bijeli Brod, whatever. So there's a lot of people going in. And look, I guess, Nick, if you're a young person and you're looking to break into, you know, lower division football over in Croatia, the beauty of having Croatian citizenship, apart from the fact that it's, you know, obviously a privilege being of Croatian background to have that, but it also opens the doors to the European Union, and it probably makes things a lot easier than being, you know, just an Australian citizen, which might be, you know, filling an import quota, that you'd actually be able to get your foot in that way. So there's so much benefits there. We've actually popped in the chat section there. There's a link there to see a demo of the app. So go to the link there. And while any app-related inquiries they can send to yourself at nick@pleme.app. So if you've got any questions, I know we've had a little bit of issues with the audio tonight, but hopefully you've kind of got the gist of what we're talking about. But there's something here I wanted to read out. Citizen HR features a pleasant user interface that allows an applicant to complete a workflow and be ready for citizenship in under 10 minutes. So there you go, Rads.
Oh.
No, you don't even have to spend more than 10 minutes, and you can get your stuff ready to prepare yourself for applying for citizenship. So on that note, Nick, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Really, really, you know, it's such an... apologise to everyone about the audio sound but cut out. But on another note, Nick, thank you so much for your support and Pleme's support of the Oz Cro Soccer Show this year. Hopefully we'll have you guys back on deck again next year, and hopefully Pleme, the app, will get bigger and better and bigger and better, and we'll have all of our viewers jumping on and becoming members if they aren't already.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Rad with the app later.
Yes, I will.
Good on you. That was Nick
Fantastic,
Krajovic. Yeah, my apologies once again for the audio quality there, but hopefully you were able to get the general gist of that. Very, very valuable, very important information there. And we'll run that app again, just so you do know what that ad again, just so you can really get a feel for what Pleme app is and Citizen HR. Rads, any full-time scores there? Any progress scores? Anything like that?
I have not got anything. We do, actually. They're all full-time scores now. So Oakley Cannons 2-1 winners over Sydney FC. Big one. Big one.
No way.
So another NPL club hits the semi-finals. Macarthur, obviously, 2-0 against Wellington Phoenix. Nothing changed there. And Brisbane all got over Adelaide United 2-1. So I do believe the draw is going to be immediately after these games, Tonch. So
we'll keep an eye on that.
Fingers crossed we see what, something that suits, huh?
Yeah. Now, when we return, we will be speaking with the gents from King Tomislav, Kralj Tomislav, about the tournament. This is huge. We will let you know who Sydney United has drawn, so that'll be all happening as well. Don't go away, folks. We got an action-packed finale to this show. Don't go away. welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. If you've just heard the big news, the sensational news that Sydney FC have been kicked out. Now, we'll find out from our next guests if because Sydney FC, I think everyone in Sydney would have loved a Sydney United Sydney FC rematch at a Denzil Park in the semi-finals, because that was played a few years back and there would have been 10,000 plus. But if they were to pull Oakley Cannons, the Greek-backed club, could that be a Sydney Olympics versus Sydney United a rematch or so? Let's find out from our guests tonight. A very, very special welcome to DINKO, LEROTIC and ANTE MARKOVIC. Gentlemen, how are we tonight? Good evening and welcome to the Oz Cro Soccer Show.
Welcome.
Hey, gents. Thanks for having us. And, yeah, thank you.
That's it. Thanks for having us, guys.
DINKO, welcome back to the show. ANTE, welcome to the show. First time. It's great to have you guys on board. And well, gentlemen, over to you. We've got a lot of announcements to be made tonight, but let's first of all talk about the tournament and all the latest news. What's happening? What have you got happening at with regards to the tournament, gents? DINKO, you first.
Well, what's not happening, to be honest? Ante's been really busy organising and locking in all our entertainment. So we've announced that in the last maybe 7 to 10 days. We've already announced all our exciting bands, DJs that we'll be having, which will be starting actually from Wednesday night. So Wednesday warm-up with Steve Tavanovats. Then we go into all the other events that Ante can go through as well. So we're busy with entertainment and we'll go from there.
Let's go, Ante. Let's go through a look. And Matt, can I just commend whoever the graphic designer is? Geez, that looks absolutely fantastic, especially when you put all of the leaflets together on the one page. Whoever it is, they've done a ripper job. Give them a shout out.
Do you want to do it, or do
You can do it.
Look, that's 100% what you said, Tonchi, right? So Tanya Churic, big shout out to her, right? So she's been working hard with the designs and the flyers that have been going out. So yeah, it is as you can see, it looks pretty good. So if not very good, I should say.
Eye-catching.
Absolutely. So let's go through the starting with the Wednesday warm-up. Ante, let's go through the rest of what is on offer for the tournament week. It's not the weekend anymore, it's the week.
Literally feels like it as well, right? When you're planning for it, for sure. So yeah, look, Wednesday warm-ups, right? So it's the first time that I think first time ever that it's happened on a Wednesday as a warm-up session or something to do with a Cro Tourny for the lead-up. So I thought, I've been to Tourny for the last, however many years it's been. And, I usually go down on a Wednesday, and you get down on a Wednesday and you want a bit of a hype up around the club, or, just to kind of welcome the crowd, I guess. So we've got Tivanovats on the Wednesday doing a warm-up session out in the club, and we'll obviously attract a big crowd, I believe, especially leading into the Tourny. And you go forward with your Thursday sessions. You've got Thursdays that obviously you've got the opening ceremony, but again, games are going from 1 p.m. on the Thursday, so it's going to be a jam-packed day. It's going to be a big day on that side of things. And then you've got the opening ceremony with the Paidashi headlining that opening ceremony, leading back into the club. And continuing on a bit of a, I guess more so an extended warm-up than leading on to the Friday Festa. So, and we all know what Friday Festas are like. So the Fridays are jam-packed as well. You've got a number of DJs. You've got Prva Liga headlining, as they have been for a number of years. So, yeah, that's obviously the first 3 days. And then you've got to look at it and you've still got 3 days to go. So, or thereabouts, right? So, and then you've got your Saturday social, what we've called it, which is obviously extended part of the gala night as well. So we're going to have something in the club for the people that wish to bring in a younger community or a younger crowd, people that are traveling interstate from kids and kids' perspectives. Get that happening as well, because as we know, you'd like to have everyone in the one location, but again, with the kids, they'd find that a bit, a bit. I wouldn't say boring, but they'd be finding that something not as usual as what they'd like it to be with a big kind of music scenario, more formal in a sense. So we've got on Saturday at the club. That's headlined by the Grupa Plavi, and also with extended onto that with a bit of a after party with a DJ, bringing in the crowd. So for anyone attending the gala night, that's going to be something where we head back to the club, have a bit of an after party as well, a bit of a drink at the bar, and yeah, we go from there. But even the gala night, right? We've got Tourny headlining that, which another great Sydney band.
Good group, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, it would be good for the Saturday as well. And then you've got your typical Sunday sessions, which is as we know, the Sunday is obviously the cool off period, but it's not so much a cool off these days. So
no,
yeah. But
I wouldn't call it the cool off period. I'd call it the call off period. That's when the massive call-offs start happening, And we saw that at Dandenong last time. I think we saw it previously was the Gold Coast as well. This promises to be even bigger and better. On the small field or the mini field there at a Denzel Park, mate, are we going to expect another rooftop session from Prva Liga?
Listen, the only way to find out is if you rock up.
Absolutely. And certainly the kids zone, that's something that's fantastic as well. The little ones are little taken care of as well, and that's going to be happening on the Friday and on the Saturday as well, and the Sunday as well. So that's going to be the big kids that will be partying at night, and the little kids will be partying during the day. So there's something there for absolutely everyone. Well done, gents. I mean, it's not just obviously you guys, but there's such a big group behind you guys as well. Let's talk about that, DINKO. Last time we had you on the show, we talked about the scope of such a big project, and you told me off air that none of you really have titles or none of you really have roles. It's like everyone just works together cohesively. Tell us how you've gone about organising and managing the logistics of such a massive event.
Yeah, well, like I've said to you off air earlier today, is when you asked about titles and all that, we don't have titles in our subcommittees. Everybody puts their hands in, puts their foot in, whatever they can put in, and we jam together and we just do what we think's best. So it's been a great group, and we've got 10 in the subcommittee, and of course we answer the King Tom board. But the way that we've been going for the last 9 to 10 months, every Thursday we've got meetings. Even if we have to have another meeting early in the week, we still have our Thursday ritual meeting. And I think we maybe missed 2 meetings in the last 10 months based on sickness.
Oh, wow.
So everybody bands together, everyone knows their role, and we all just help each other to get the end result, which we set out at the start is Sydney's probably got a little bit of a bad image and name when it comes to tourneys, and that's something that we really want to stamp out and really bring the family aspect, the partying side as well, and make sure people don't forget there's Markovic to play as well. It's not just about drinking and bands and all that. We've got games to play, so and that's what we want to deliver.
Yeah. Now, Rads, you going to say something, were you?
Yeah, I was actually going to say that. Obviously, the release of the fixtures today.
Great minds think alike.
Mate, there are some cracking
exclusive on the Oz Cro Soccer Show.
Absolutely. No, good. And I skimmed over a few of them, and I'll tell you what, for any of the guys that are interested in Division 1, that Friday, you don't leave. You do not leave from 8 o'clock to about 6, I believe. You do not leave the ground. It's unbelievable. Blockbuster after blockbuster. It's going to be fantastic, I think.
And there's some really good games across all divisions on the Thursday, and with the opening ceremony kicking off on the Thursday, and then you got from memory Sydney United versus Dandy City kicking off.
Yes.
Which from memory Dandy City is the reigning champions, I believe, in Division 1.
Yes, I think that's right. Yes,
Yes,
wasn't
yes,
it last
that's right.
time around? Yep.
Yeah, last time around, and then
A long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. And then you got Melbourne Knights versus another Sydney club of
Hurstville.
Zagreb. So that's just at night time, let alone all the others. So
Absolutely. And our boys, Tonch, North Geelong taking on Gold Coast at the Fairfield Showgrounds.
Yeah, no, this is going to be fantastic. Look, I know that certainly, like in the pre-season Crow Cup, they actually said Stuart Begg, the North Geelong coach, actually said that was where a lot of the young players were blooded, and that really propelled them into having a very good season, which culminated in North Geelong getting promoted to next year's NPL. So this tournament will, yes, it's an end of season trip for clubs like North Geelong and some of these others, but because they've got this earlier start to next year, which kicks off, I think, early February, the NPL Victoria competition, this is going to be an ideal opportunity for some of those younger players to really get a lot of playing time and to really show the coaching staff what they're capable of. So, yes, it may well be in some ways an end of season trip for a lot of clubs, but for a lot of clubs that are really now already one eye on next season, and as you said, Raz, the quality of the level of opponents that they'll be coming up against, especially in Division 1, that's just going to be absolutely fantastic. But let's go back to that Thursday, Dinko. Take it away.
As you can see, it's in all different groups, and we've got it on King Tom. We've got 2 pitches at King Tom. We've got 4 pitches at the Showgrounds. So games start at 1 and last kickoff's at 5 o'clock. And then we reconvene and start the open ceremony at 7. So majority of the clubs will be playing on the Thursday, and you can see that it's a mixture of everything. But we're excited of both of our grounds that we can that we're going to show, which is Fairfield Showgrounds, a world class venue, and we all know what King Tom's like as well. So there's some really
now Dinko, what's the distance between the 2 venues, just for the interstate folk that aren't familiar with Sydney?
It's maximum about 3.6 k's, if that. So it's if you take the back streets, probably about 6-7 minutes, if that. There's a couple of shortcuts, so yeah, you could get to King Tom to the showground in about 6-7 minutes. So and we've got shuttle buses as well going throughout the whole Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the showgrounds. And yeah, so we're trying to help as many people as we can to make sure that they can go between both venues.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I noticed 4 pitches at the Fairfield Showgrounds as well. There,
don't say anything about the shuttle buses. Most people these days have those smart watches, and what you're not, they get their steps up. They can start, pitching, just walking between the 2 venues, and then they're going to feel a lot less guilt-free when they indulge in the food and drinks later on that evening. Ante, let's move along now to the Friday, a jam-packed agenda of games being played across 6 pitches over the 2 venues. This is going to be huge. Friday, obviously the biggest day with the most number of games. Take us through some of the highlights of the fixture draws.
Look, to be honest, it's something that's going to be a big jam-packed schedule. As you can see, almost doesn't even fit on the page, right? So, look, it's definitely something that I think everyone's going crazy here at the club at the moment because of Sydney United. So if you hear anything in the background,
yes, they've just been. I am going to interrupt there, and Sydney United's just been drawn against Brisbane Roar, so an away fixture there, I believe, against Brisbane Roar.
It'll be home. It'll be home. All NPL clubs host A-League teams, so another.
I'm just looking. Yeah, it's just come up now. So there you go. So Brisbane Roar, it could be a home fixture.
Yeah,
there you go. Well, probably not a marketer's delight, but nonetheless. Yeah, it would have been MacArthur FC, Oakley Cannons. Any of those teams would have been great to get, I suppose, because of the appeal. But Brisbane Roar, boys, Ante, first of all, you comments about Sydney United drawing Brisbane Roar?
Yeah, look, my thought process is I think the way that we're going at the moment, we can pretty much topple any team. Like you knock off the A-League champions, that sends a few shadows out, and a few shocks out to the rest of the I guess the rest of the competition. So yeah, look, you even look at it in a sense of even Oakley tonight, right? Man, if you're on your game, you can beat anyone. So my thought process is I think we can beat anyone, and I think we can almost go all the way. So, but we'll see what happens. We've just got to take it one step at a time. But again, Brisbane's a good team. I wouldn't say they're top notch, but they're about. Yeah.
DINKO, your thoughts about that draw?
Yeah, no, staying with ANTE as well. So it'll be good to host another A-League club at the club.
Absolutely.
And hope for the best. I believe the game will probably be in the next week or so, and we'll go from there. But I don't think it's. Yeah, I think it's one of the better ones, and we'll see what happens.
Now, this, I guess, is probably almost a blessing for the tournament organisers. It could be seen as a bit of a dress rehearsal for what awaits. I'm sure there'll be a massive crowd. I'm sure there'll be opportunities to have little fan zones and kid zones and what you're not, and to really almost get yourself all excited about the tournament coming. And possibly maybe even, I know it's not Brisbane Strikers, but Brisbane Raw, all the same thing. It could be a revenge for that 96-97 grand final up at that was the year. And that thank you to was it Krešo Terkeš that said 96-97. That was the grand final when the Strikers defeated Sydney United. Well, we want revenge. We want to win there. But yeah, so that could be a real good opportunity to maybe test a few things as well for the tournament, possibly.
Yeah, look, of course, like when we played, Western United at home a couple of weekends ago now, so that was a big turnout as well, right? You looked at it and I thought, the first thing I thought to myself was, this is just on a standard Sunday afternoon with Sydney crowds. Imagine what the Tourny's going to bring. That's literally my first thoughts. And I'm like, if we're packing this out with a couple of thousand now on a standard Sunday afternoon, and, you look at it, a month or two down the track, and, you're looking at now bringing in a Tourny crowd of, however many tens of thousands of people. But, yeah, it's going to be one hell of a turnout, I believe.
Now, any idea when the Rads? Any idea when that game is going to be held? Is it in a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or anything like that?
I'll be honest. I turned it off as soon as I saw it come up. So yeah, I have no idea. We're going to have to just stay tuned on that one, I think.
That's it.
Oh, Josip, look at our Josip. Our Nash Josip. He's sick and everything, but he still manages to have a regular contribution to the show. He says Warren Mooney's married to a Croatian. Is that true? There you go. I didn't know that.
Encyclopedia himself, huh?
Svezna, naš Josip.
I pojma ima, jel?
I pojma ima, like some of those that Željko Kalac said in Croatia, yeah. Gents, let's move back to where were we up to? We were up to Saturday, DINKO. Let's look at Saturday now.
Yeah, so Saturday is a little bit different as well, where we'll just be using the Fairfield Showground as well, condensing of the 4 fields, and having all the crowd with the kids zone activated and everything else part of it as well, with bands, DJs. But yeah, it will just be the Fairfield Showground, and that's where a couple of group games will finish off, and then we start the quarterfinals and semi-finals, and we find out who's playing on Sunday.
Excellent.
And let's move to Sunday. That's the big day, the final day. All right, everything then shifts to King Tom, and it's just one after the other, all on the main pitch, and then we've got obviously the entertainment afterwards. But right from 10 o'clock this morning. Now, my question is, after a big Saturday night, the veterans, will they be in any shape at 10 o'clock in the morning? Will they be in any shape to play full stop? But at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning, what do you reckon, gents? Will they or won't they?
It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. You know what? Anyone's in that same boat. Whoever plays that early game. So, I think it's just the matter of my experience through Tourny and playing at Tourny for the last number of years. And no matter how big of a night you have, you've still got to rock up and perform. So, and especially on a grand final day, I think it's going to be quite interesting to see the results and who takes home the cups.
And that's when you perform the best, I guess. There's no time to think about any hangovers. You just do what you got to do, and that's when the best games are usually pulled out. Isn't that right, Raj? We remember some of those days when we used to play for the North Geelong Hacks, the Sunday League side. Everyone's got a story to tell, I'm sure.
That was the only time I actually played good.
On a hangover.
On a hangover.
Well, we expect to then see some absolute scintillating, sexy football as the split Johnny from Strathmore split deem it on the Sunday of the tournament. We'll go back to that slide as well. That's followed by the Masters, and then the big ones, the women's final at 12:45, the Division 2 final at 2:15, and then the big one, the men's Division 1 final at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Promises to be a huge, huge event. Now, gents, an innovation, I guess, if you like, at this year's event is the Crow coin, the concept of the Crow coin. Tell us more about it, gents.
Yeah, so Crow coin is right here, and you can see it on there as well, is the last week before we got the opportunity to host this tournament, we, in our bid for 3 years, we really wanted to go down the avenue of going away from coupons and going on to a sort of like a card system of our own, similar to what the time zones and those type of kid activities have. And thanks to Gold Coast for initiating a lot of the discussions with suppliers when they were going to host last year's, we've been able to take that and absolutely execute it as well. So for this year, Crow coin will be the currency, and there'll be no more coupons. You'll be able to top up at the merch stores and where you usually buy coupons, and this will be the currency for all our grounds and for inside the club as well. So you'll be able to check your balances at the registers. You'll be able to check up where you top up, and we'll be able to give you a receipt as well of how much money you've got left on your balances.
Fantastic. Convenience.
Good idea. You won't be finding coupons in your pockets 2 weeks later.
and multiple dollars worth as well.
Multiple dollars worth, yeah, exactly.
Now, my question is, after the event, and you've got money still left on there, can you go down to the time zone and cash it in out there?
Well, if there's systems allow, go ahead. Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do.
As long as it works for our 4 days, do whatever you want after.
That's it.
Yeah, awesome. Gents, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure. Now, the fixtures, they will be on the soccer tournament Facebook page. Is that right? They'll be on there?
Yeah, we'll launch. We'll put the fixtures up either tonight or tomorrow morning on our Facebook socials. The servers will, I'm sure, will repost them as well, and make sure everybody that has the Tourny app, the Croatian Soccer Association Tourny app. Make sure if you have it upgraded, if you don't have it downloaded, and all the fixtures will be on there as well with updated scores throughout the tournament when we kick off in a couple of weeks' time.
Fantastic. Gents, thank you so much for coming on the show again tonight. We really, really appreciate it. Really appreciate us getting the exclusive as far as the fixtures are concerned as well. So that's an added bonus. But we wish you guys all the very, very best for the tournament. Just one question. What are you guys going to do on a Thursday night once the tournament is over? Are you just going to sort of keep having these meetings just for old time's sake, or are you going to come up with another project maybe?
No, we might have one just to just have a drink and say how much time we put in it. But some of us will get our lives back afterwards, and some will find something else to do, and some might go home and bother their wives now because they got an extra day to spend at home. So who knows what's going to happen.
Oh, gents, we wish you all the very, very best for the leading up to the tournament,
Absolutely.
The tournament itself, and post the tournament when you have to go back to your normal lives, I suppose, eh?
Yeah.
Well done. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. I look forward to having you guys. Hopefully, you guys will be here in Sydney as well, and look forward to seeing everybody here soon.
Hopefully,
Thank you very much. Good luck, guys.
Thanks to DINKO, LEROTIC, and ANTE MARKOVIC. All well. Reds, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for stepping into the very, very big.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Of Josip Jilic, who hopefully will be back next week. He was here with us in spirit and contributing in the chat.
Comments.
So, in the comments. So thanks, Zilla. It'll be good to have him back next week. And next week, as we said, we hope to have someone from Croatia, Glenorchy Knights. We also hope to have someone from Sydney United to talk about the Australia Cup semi-finals, which is, I think, in about 2 weeks. That's what, by the way, Josip tells us. So,
Mr. Britannica, yes.
Yeah, Encyclopedia Britannica. Does anyone know?
He is, isn't he?
What you're talking about these days? It's Google. Everything's Google.
It's Google.
Our vintage was all Encyclopedia
Absolutely.
Britannica. On that note, once again, Rads, thanks for joining us. How did you enjoy it? You didn't.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I thought I went a bit quiet at times, but there was times that I didn't know what to ask, and you kind of took over as you normally do, Tunch. Somebody has to talk and somebody has to listen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my wife always tells me. Yeah. And I always seem to be doing the talking. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. It was episode 30, and that Pleme app. If you're not a member of Pleme, jump on board, and like Rads, you're now going to be able to apply for your Croatian citizenship in a little bit more of a systematic way.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being a part of tonight's episode 30. We look forward to having your company again next week on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Good night. Laku Noć.
See you later.